At least one of these 6 quotes will make you a better artist today. Without this first quote, I wouldn't be here on YouTube. It's about how we tend to focus on people too much. And it's true, I was focused on me. I was scared of being judged, honestly, my personality, my art, my Italian accent.
Why should anyone listen to you, huh? You are nobody.
But imagine this. Imagine that someone you dislike writes down some very interesting ideas on a topic that you care about. If you don't know who wrote them, would you be more or less interested in them? Be honest, if you knew who wrote them, you'd probably reject them altogether. And it's curious how our mind has a hard time separating the message from the messenger. But we should really try to be less curious about people and more curious about ideas. Because once we do, all that matters is what the message is, not who the messenger is. Now, the next quote has been my best friend when I was down, and I felt like I was not good enough. Somebody once told me that I am my harshest critic, and it's true. It's hard to be content with where you are in your journey. I think it's impossible not to compare yourself to someone else. It's normal, but it's also kind of toxic. Because it quickly becomes a habit and it's going to stop you from practicing just for the love of it. For me, this quote is kind of the antidote that can put a smile back on my face and get me out of a rut. The simplest application of it is just to compliment someone else's work and make them feel good about it. Of course, be honest about it, but instead of focusing on the mistakes, pick up what was done well. And there's always something that was done well. We're just not very used to paying attention to it. Not only you will cheer them up if you do this, but it's also a way to learn that others don't need to fail for you to succeed. Simply put, the best way to cheer yourself up is to make somebody else smile. If inspiration was about ideas, motivation is all about execution. And the best way to execute for me has always been to make sure that I can visualize what I will be doing on a calendar. There's no magic to learning. You just need to space small rounds of practice across many days. But even if you know this, you can still fall in the trap of the empty practice. It's exactly like with nutrition. The quality of what you eat and drink matters. Practicing just for the sake of practicing is like consuming empty calories. Just don't do it. Practice intentionally, with challenges and small projects that you can count on to stretch your comfort zone. If you actually do this, this is a game changer for every aspect of your life. Don't count the days, make the days count. If you are a bit of a perfectionist, like me, then this next quote is for you. It's insane how often we don't start something we have in mind only because we think that we need to have it all mapped out. Every single time that I made a big detailed plan, it ended up going in a whole different direction. I'm not saying not to plan at all. We are all different in how we see and perceive risk, and the plan does take off some of that fear of failure. But the real skill is not planning, it's steering. The ability to make decisions and course correct as you go. We're tricked in believing that it's a race up a staircase, but 99% of people just never arrive at all. So it's not about arriving first. The goal is just to move. Stop overthinking your plan and just start. One step at a time. Because you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Way more important than how you're gonna get there is why you want to get there. And that's where validation comes in. If what you want is that polished, rendered look, then you're never going to become a master. Simply because you're not gonna stick to the journey long enough. I started off drawing anime, and I was obsessed to make my paintings look accurate. And of course, the finish point was always disappointing. So much so that it discouraged me to continue drawing. But if you listen to those artists that have been doing it for a long time, you'll discover that their drive comes from the process of creating, not the resulting creation. Enjoy creating. That's the key ingredient to make a true master artist. Or as the quote goes, true artists never finish their paintings. That's not the point. In fact, if you watch other videos on my channel, you'll discover that I prefer seeing the rough drafts and the unfinished sketches of master artists instead of their final works. And that's because I get to glimpse inside their mind when they were just drawing for fun. And it makes me want to join in. Because creativity is contagious, so go pass it on. But if you need more inspiration, this video here is for you. And if it's motivation what you need, I've also got you covered here.